So today what I want to show you is how to make a tomato and onion focaccia, just a basic white tin. It's a good basic loaf to make. And these beautiful slatinos, which are basically ciabatta sort of style dough, inside a whole green olives. They're absolutely delicious with olive oil and a balsamic. Right, I want to show you a couple of recipes. One will be a slightly more wetter dough than a conventional dough, which normally has around 60% liquid, the normal dough. The wetter doughs can go up to 75, 85, even 1 to 1, so same amount of flour to water. It's ridiculous, but it depends on the quality of flour that you're using. Bowl, you've got scales, I've got some olive oil, got some salt, got some yeast, fast action stuff which I managed to get hold of. Not much there, but I can see what I can do with it. And I've got some strong flour as well. The only one I get is this strong flour that I got in the supermarket yesterday. So what I'm going to do is start by putting 800 grams. Now this is for your sandwich tins to make sandwiches with. Basically, it's very simple. This one I'm going to put in the. I'll do by hand actually. The other one I'll put in the mixer at the same time. So I've got 800 going in here. Then I'm going to add about 10 grams of yeast. In. I'll put, this is just table salt. I'm going to put 12 grams of salt in here as well. It's quite a lot. I mean, I like quite salty bread, so that's quite normal for me. If you want to cut it down, you can go down to about 7, but again, it's to taste. And then I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in there, about 30 ml or so. I'll put that to one side. Now in the big bowl, I'm going to make another mix. This one's going to be a little bit wetter than normal, so 500 grams of flour to start with. Yeast, put about 5 grams in there. Salt, about 7. But I'll put some. I'll try something different. I'll put a little bit of sea salt in this one. So I've got yeast. I've got salt. Put a little bit of olive oil in that one again. And then water content, I'm probably going to try and get to around 350, 380, possibly 400. I'll show you what you're looking for. So I'm going to use cold water. Dough hook, don't use a blade. Started on slow. Okay, this has been mixing for around 10, 15 minutes. Quite soft, quite loose. I'll show you what it looks like. You see how wet that is? Such a stringy dough. That's what you're looking for basically. Now, what I'm going to do is add some green olives to this. Now I'm looking for decent green olives. So get it started on slow. Now the green olives I'm using are these. These are Spanish green olives. Now, These aren't marinated in anything at the moment, but you're going to get a lot of flavour from this. I have a little bit of oregano to this as well. So on the slowest this will go to, drop in a load of olives. Now, normally for something like 400 grams of dough, I would add nearly 250 of these, 250 grams, which is a lot. But I almost want it to be olives wrapped in dough rather than olives in dough, you know what I mean? So the predominant thing in this is an olive, just with a little bit of dough wrapped around it. That's all it is. Nice and slow, let the olives infuse into the dough. And try not to break them up, which is why it's on slow. And grab a little bit of oregano. A bit of oregano in there. Did a lot of Mediterranean cookings actually, cooking dried oregano and dried mint, especially in Cyprus. About another 5-10 minutes, nice and slow. Okay, so I've been mixing this for around 10 minutes or so, and you end up with a lump of dough like that with green olives all the way through it. Now actually I can see there's a lot of space there for more green olives. So this, I'm going to add more. So it's predominantly green olive, that's what you're looking for. Again, mix this around gently with your hand, fingers in there. I think we're getting there. So you end up with that, see? I think it could take even more, so I'm going to put all these in there. Again, use olive oil, a bit of olive oil on your hand, get your hand in there. It feels great, it just feels good. Okay. Now once you've incorporated and stuck all the olives to that dough, grab a bowl, a big bowl, or a tub, olive oil in it, rubbing it all around the sides, and tip your dough into the bowl. You end up with a mess like that, okay? Now that needs to rest for at least 2 hours, and it should be nice and big, and that's when you're going to use it. Okay, so I've got the rest of the ingredients in here, which I'm going to make a more conventional dough. So I'll make a sandwich tin from it, and maybe a couple of little flatbreads, possibly a focaccia. So I've got everything in here, just add a little bit of water to it. And then slowly begin to mix with your hands initially. Go down the bottom. You're not kneading it, you're just basically moving it around to see how much liquid this flour is going to pick up, and it's going to pick up quite a lot. Not exactly the biggest bowl in the world. A little bit more water. Put your hands in there. You see, this is what the kids should be doing at home now. Getting stuck into baking. I pretty much know that most of you are baking out there because there's no flour on the shelves. And what flour there is not really what I was looking for. And yeast, I can't find any yeast. Baking powder, like hen's teeth, I can't find that either. But whatever you've got, if you've got self-raising flour, obviously that's plain flour with baking powder in anyway, so you can use that on some of the recipes. You can see it's turned into a mush already. All I'm doing is gripping it, turning it around the bowl, picking up all that flour that's at the bottom. And you end up with a lump of dough like that. How long did that take? 15 seconds? 15 seconds maybe, if that. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, get a little bit of olive oil, put it on the bench, put the dough in there, and then just massage the dough. Basically, you do this for about 5-10 minutes. There's loads of methods. There's the pick up, the drop. You can do whatever you want to knead bread, to knead the dough itself. All you're doing is manipulating the dough, stretching it, and moving it around for around 5-10 minutes just to smooth it out. It's a bit rough at the moment. Can you see how rough it is? It looks quite mottled. You want to get that really smooth. So that smoothness comes by manipulating the dough. So we're going to do this for 5-10 minutes and see what it comes out like. Okay, so I've been manipulating certainly manipulating this dough for around 10 minutes or so. You can see how smooth it's gone. Still got olive oil on it, stretches, and that's exactly what you're looking for. So at that stage, we need to prove it or rest it for a couple of hours. So I'm going to grab the bowl and mix the olive bread in, pop it in there, cover it up, leave it for a couple of hours. Okay, I've got my two doughs which have been resting for a few hours. The olive one is here. Beautiful, I'm going to give that a little bit longer. And I'm just covering it in a plastic bag just to stop the air from getting to it more than anything else. This is the other one, the slightly tighter dough, which is in there. I need to bring that onto the bench. Bit of flour in there. Dig that one out. Little bit of flour on the bench. Now what I want to do is divide this into two. One half I will do a focaccia and the other half a tin bread. Okay, so I'll divide this into two, straight down the middle. With one half, I'm just going to shape it in for a tin, so flatten it down. Fold in the edges, use your knuckles, fold over the top bit and then roll it up, a bit like a sausage roll. Roll it out and then tuck it underneath. I'm trying to keep a little bit of air in it still, so you end up with one line down the bottom. That goes on the bottom of the tin and then you leave that to prove up. I didn't want to put too much work in it. The next tray, loads of olive oil into the base, rub it all around and up the sides. Get your dough, stretch it out, flatten it onto the bottom of the tray. Use your fingers to really push it into the corners as well. A little bit of olive oil on top of that. Fingers in again. So end up with focaccia shape and a tin shape. Now with the focaccia, I'm going to use some tomatoes and onion. You can use anything you want. Use mushrooms if you like, cheese, rosemary, olives. But I've got some onion. I'll just drop a couple of these rings all over the top. The flavour of it is beautiful, onion and focaccia anyway. Put it anywhere, there's no set pattern. And on top of that, some tomatoes. Just push that into the dough. Again, all over the top. Be as neat as you want or not, doesn't really matter. This is more tear and sherbet. So all I've done is just cut it into slices. Little cherry tomatoes work well in this as well. That's what it looks like, tomato with onion. The tin bread, nice and neat in the tin with the line down the bottom. And just leave those now to prove up. Cover them up in a plastic bag again and then leave them for another hour and they'll go straight into the oven. Okay, this is the olive mixture in the dough, which I'm just going to tip out onto flour, lots and lots of flour. And then coat it again in flour. You can use half flour, half semolina, which does work well. Just stretch it out a bit. It's so sticky, this dough, anyway, to be honest. And basically, it's olives everywhere. Just making sure there's loads of flour underneath, which there is, so it moves easily. And then once it's on the bench covered in flour, just leave it to rest for 10 minutes before you cut it. All I've done is cut grooves and then got these olives, which are huge. A bit easier with the smaller olives. All I'm trying to do is shape it roughly into a sort of long hot dog shape. And then keep on moving it in the flour because it is tricky. Put it about halfway, stretch it, just put it on a tray. So basically what I said was it's dough wrapped around olives, that's all it is. It's not technically olive bread. You end up with these lumps. So it's like a ciabatta style dough with these massive olives in them. Ideally, try and use a slightly smaller olive, but I love the big olives. You get these chunky bits and bread all together with the oregano in there. It is very, very good. So I'll just carry on finishing off this. Okay, so I just brought these olive breads out. I baked them off at 210 for around 25 minutes, and that's how they come out. They're a bit hot. Green olives all the way through, and they taste delicious. That served with olive oil and balsamic are absolutely gorgeous. And here's the focaccia. Now, the only thing we're going to drizzle on is a little bit more olive oil and leave that to rest in the tin for about 10 minutes before you get it out. And it comes out like that. That is delicious. Tomato and onion focaccia. Now this tin bread, you think, oh, it's not ready, it's quite flat. This was quite small in the tin and it's grown a lot and it's quite a soft dough. If you touch it, it does spring back. And all I've done is gently rub some flour over the top. Got the oven at 220. So this is like your traditional sandwich bread, which you can carve up, make beautiful sandwiches or toast in the morning with. And I'm going to put this in the oven now, throw a bit of water into a pan that I've got preheated down the bottom, just to create a little bit of steam. I would normally cut it, but because it's quite small and the tin is quite flat, it will sink, so I'm just going to leave it. It should dome in the oven beautifully. But this will bake for 30 to 35 minutes at 220. And there's the tin bread. So you've got your tin bread, you've got your focaccia, and you've got your splatinos, these olive sticks. Olive sticks, focaccia, and tin bread. Yeah, that'll keep me going for, well, at least a day. So there you have it. It's pretty straightforward. There's two basic doughs. One was slightly wetter, but a higher water content than the conventional dough, which made the focaccia and the white bread, for instance, because the ciabatta style dough had much more water in it. So that's all you got to remember. You can use the same basic salt, yeast to flour ratios, whether you're using 500 grams of flour or 800 grams of flour. You just have to alter the yeast and the salt, that's all, and then a little bit of extra olive oil. But the secret is the water content. The more water content you add to your dough, the bigger the air holes will be. But you need to sustain them by leaving them to prove, knocking them back and leaving them to come up again. And that's the secret to making good bread. And this bread will last, a few days. You can freeze it at this stage. You can slice this up when it's a bit cooler, freeze them individually, and just bring them out. When you toast them, they'll come straight back to life. Baking should be simple. Get the whole family involved and enjoy baking. That's what it's all about. And in these times during the coronavirus, I know how difficult it is. We're all stuck inside. So I'll put up a few more videos and try and get a few more people baking. If you've got any questions, put them up on my Twitter account or Paul Hollywood Bakes, or come straight to me at Paul Hollywood on Instagram. Thank you very much.